Welcome back to Talking with Teri TV. And on today's episode of Spilling the Tea, or in this case, spilling the British tea, we're crossing the pond to tap in and tune into Princess Catherine's health crisis journey. Take a listen.
Our other top story, the Princess of Wales, ending weeks of speculation about her health. Princess Catherine revealing she's undergoing cancer treatment, and ABC's Lama Hassan is outside Buckingham Palace with the latest. Lama, good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you. Well, as you can imagine, Princess Catherine's shocking announcement is on the front page of every newspaper here in the UK. You know, this was Princess Catherine like we have never seen her before. She's quite private, but she sounded emotional, making that deeply powerful and personal statement and speaking directly to the public.
It has been an incredibly tough couple of months for our entire family.
A stoic Catherine, Princess of Wales, in her own words, sharing a very personal message about her health.
In January, I underwent major abdominal surgery in London, and at the time, it was thought that my condition was non-cancerous. The surgery was successful. However, tests after the operation found cancer had been present. My medical team therefore advised that I should undergo a course of preventative chemotherapy, and I'm now in the early stages of that treatment.
So anyone facing a diagnosis like this, it is absolutely heartbreaking, is a life-alternating experience. And as a therapist, I saw firsthand behind the scenes of what really happens when we have a diagnosis, like, and the unpacking of this and how a diagnosis like this can have a ripple effect, can have devastating impacts on not only that person, but their entire family. And so, you know, I'm just going to invite everyone to have some massive compassion on what she and her family is going through right now.
2-minute video filmed on Wednesday at their home.
This, of course, came as a huge shock, and William and I have been doing everything we can to process and manage this privately for the sake of our young family.
So again, therapist hat on. This is a very sensitive topic. Her children, youngest is age 6, the oldest is age 10. And as a mom, put yourself in her shoes. Not only are you navigating this for yourself, but now you're navigating this for your own children. And, you know, there's so many different dynamics that play out in addressing this with children. Their age and stage developmentally, what's too much to share, what's not enough to share. What do we share with the 6-year-old? What do we share with the 10-year-old, just based on the brain development? And also in this case, we're managing other people's expectations, other people's demands of knowing information. But also she's doing what any great mom would do, which is trying to protect her children and be in charge of what that narrative is to their children, because they're school age, they are going to school. And I don't know about you, but if you have children and you've gone to school, children just say whatever, they have no filter, right? And so, what would keep another child from saying something that would be inappropriate, that could be traumatizing, because children say what is on their minds. And I could see any kids of just being like, yeah, I heard your mom's dying. Why is she dying? What is that, And so I do think that they are trying their best to navigate this really sensitive topic in the best way that they can.
The cancer diagnosis putting an end to weeks of speculation about her well-being.
As you can imagine, this has taken time. It has taken me time to recover from major surgery in order to start my treatment. But most importantly, it has taken us time to explain everything to George, Charlotte and Louis in a way that's appropriate for them, and to reassure them that I'm going to be okay. As I've said to them, I am well and getting stronger every day.
Emphasizing the focus for her and Prince William is on their 3 children.
As it should be. I was sharing with Mary, my producer, that this really should not be anyone's business. And to Mary's point, she said, yes, and she's a public figure, part of the royal family. right? And she does have duties and responsibilities that have engaged her in the public's eye, and her reporting and having a public appearance, right? And so it wasn't until those public appearances died down to virtually nothing that the public started to question what's happening, right? And so I think this is a really important piece from a business perspective. Health is number one. And so we also have duties and responsibilities for our community, our the people that we serve. Because if I go and become MIA for 3 months, 4 months, my community, my clients, my people are going to start to take notice of, like, where's Teri, right? And so I think it's just being mindful of what this impact has on the whole picture.
We hope that you'll understand that as a family, we now need some time, space, and privacy while I complete my treatment.
Reaction to Princess Catherine's cancer diagnosis was immediate. Buckingham Palace saying the king is so proud of Catherine for her courage in speaking as she did, adding His Majesty has remained in the closest of contact with his beloved daughter-in-law. President Biden releasing a statement saying, Jill and I join millions around the world in praying for your full recovery, Princess Kate. The video coming after weeks of online.
So here's the thing is, that's fantastic. There were some great positive, they're highlighting the positive things, and that's great. But she was also, prior to this, she was under attack from the social media perspective. And they had so many celebrities. You had The View out there bad-mouthing her. You had all these people who were attacking her and just saying some really unkind things. And I am just sitting back here as a human thinking, wow, what happened to the golden rule? What happened to, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all? And I think that's the problem with our social media. That's the problem with our planet these days, is that we take, when we don't have information, we just fill in whatever we want. And again, that is from a psychology perspective. When we don't have enough information, the brain will honestly start to fantasy fill. We'll start creating all of these stories. And a lot of these celebrities have had to eat their words as a result of this diagnosis, which is really sad. They shouldn't have to do that in the beginning, right? And some of them are holding true to, going in straight in and attacking and buckling down and hitting her even harder, right? But I do think this is where they got themselves in trouble. Look at this.
Conspiracies that had been amplified after Kensington Palace released this photo on Mother's Day in the UK.
So here's a dealio, okay, which I can't wrap my head around. So I would love to hear from you. If you could make sense of this, please do so, because I was telling Mary, I was like, hey, I don't understand why she would put this picture out there and then edit off her wedding ring. That doesn't make sense. What would be the motivation? What would be? So here's the thing. When you start to put a narrative out there and the public starts to go, wait, this doesn't add up. I mean, humans are very intelligent. And so they start to say, wait, this doesn't add up. And then there's an element of gaslighting the public about what's really happening. Now, she says that Kate Middleton comes out and admits that she photoshopped the picture. I don't know if she would, I don't know. This doesn't make sense to me, but I don't think a princess would be going in and photoshopping her own photos. I think they have a team for that. So if she didn't do it, then what's really happening? But this is part of the problem that they had from a PR place, is because, again, when humans hear this, they're saying, okay, this doesn't make sense. I'm going to start fantasy filling. And now we're going to start creating these conspiracy theories that spun out of control.
Which was found to have been doctored, the princess admitting she edited it herself.
That video managed to accomplish a lot of things. Everyone got to see her speak.
Which, you know what is so funny is that when I watched this for the first time, I'm like, I don't think I've ever heard her speak. And I haven't, which was so wild to me. I don't know, has anyone else heard her speak? I've seen her in videos and footage and pictures, but I've never actually heard her speak. This is the first time for me, anyways, of hearing her speak, which was kind of an odd revelation for me.
To them, connect with them. And it also helps people really understand what she's going through.
Earlier this week, TMZ.
I would agree with that 100%. everything spun out of control. So I think they were required to do this video. They are a private family. I think that because of social media was getting so out of control, they had to come in and do something to damper it. But I think things like this is why they had to do it.
Deanne, the son, obtaining video of the royal couple looking relaxed.
But this is where they got themselves in trouble, because this doesn't even look like her. And okay, let's just take the reality of the situation. Okay. A, she's just been diagnosed with cancer. B, she just had a massive, abdominal surgery, right? And she's probably, her body is needing health and healing, right? I don't know that I'd be out and about if you don't have to go out and about for things, right? Like, I don't know. I think that this doesn't look like her. If any of you have seen Princess Switch in The Walking, there's just something about this that doesn't add up. And I think that's where people felt like they were being, gaslighted into believing there's something else going on. And this is where I think they contributed to the active confusion and the start of conspiracy theories.
Shopping at a local market. Catherine ending her statement by reaching out to others facing a similar diagnosis.
For everyone facing this disease, in whatever form, please do not lose faith or hope. You are not alone.
And what a beautiful way to end her statement there. And so there's a lot of things that we can learn from this. And so let me unpack a few of these things. So again, online trolls, they were kind of damned if they do, damned if they don't, because whether we're revealing information or not revealing information, I don't think that there was ever going to be a win-win-win here, okay? And honestly, if she wasn't part of the royal family, this would have not been a big issue. It would have been nobody's business, and this matter would have been dealt with in the appropriate way that they deemed appropriate for their family, right? And so there's a lot of love and light that I'm sending her and her family right now, just because of the way she was treated and the way that she's continuing to get backlash. And again, I don't think it was ever going to be a win-win, because they would have spun it some other way, right? And so when I was telling Mary about this, I'm like, it's not anyone's business. She said, but it's also because she, is one of the spokespeople for, the commonwealth of her community. This part of this goes into those roles and responsibilities. And so I understand that. Okay. And as a business owner, there are times when we're faced with having to share information that we may not have always shared because of that limelight, because of our positioning, because of our, influence in the community. And so just being mindful of that. And so I'm going to go through and unpack a few things of what we learned and what not to do. So here's some key teachings on what not to do. When you're in a public figure, you have to take control of the narrative. Otherwise, they will write it for you. And that may or may not be in your highest and greatest good. So I think what we witnessed here was, I think they were trying to spin things like, hey, everything's normal, everything's fine. Here's our happy face. Yay, yay, yay. And it completely backfired on them. And so they had to go back, and from a PR perspective, they had to do some damage control. The fact that she came out and made this video, they were saying that was the first time they had ever had a person from the royal family make a statement like that. So this is, again, uncharted territory that they're in. And I think because it was so impactful of what was happening, that they had to actually come out and just kind of squash things down, give people some information so they could back off. Now, sadly, some of those trolls are going full force, which I guess what we can say is karma's karma, right? Number two, we live in an age and stage with social media, whether we like it or not. And here's the reality of it, that social media, things can spread like wildfire. And if it's not in your best interest, it can really do harm to your reputation, to your business, to your overall image in the public. And so it's really being mindful of that fact. Again, I'm just saying that because we may or may not agree with that, but taking that into consideration. Back in the day when radio was first coming out, it said it took like X amount of years, I forget how many years, for that listener to really, hear that and grapple with it, right? And then TV eventually evolved. And that TV, I think they said that it was like 15 years or something like that it would take to, get that information to impact 1 million people. Well, now social media, it's instantaneously, that information spreads like wildfire. And if we are not being mindful of that, it can really do some harm. And the last thing is that we are all human and we have to do what is best for ourselves and our family at the end of the day. And we have to honor that because trolls are going to be trolls. And in this situation, again, I think she's damned if she does, damned if she doesn't, because there was going to be no win-win situation. So you got to do what's right for you and lead by that, lead with love and just hope that people will see you and for the work that you're doing and the good that you're doing in the world. And then to bless and release, right? Absolutely bless and release. And yes, she does have a global impact. She has a global reach. And I think that her messaging around what she could be as a contribution to cancer and what she could be supported by will be a fabulous thing. However, she must get through it now. So give her some time to heal. Give her some time to understand this, process this. I know people that have taken a year to simply process the reality of this. And so, yes, she can be a platform of this information and to help educate and help bring in resources and things like that. But let's first let her get through it, right? Because when we're in trauma brain, when we're in frantic figuring things out thing, we're not going to serve anybody. And she needs to put that focus back on her health, her well-being, and getting into a place and space that she can help support her body in healing her body in the way that so that she can survive this, right? And so I do hope that people who were naysayers, do the right thing. And I do think that moving forward, here's the thing is, again, we see commercials about this all the time. It's just be kind. What if we could just make the practice of being kind? I will teach a tool that stops the judgment of others, stops the judgment of ourselves. And one of those things is that if we were just to stop the judgments, okay, going back to the golden rule, adapting that as part of our life is if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. We can make the world a better place. And we all would like to create a space where people are welcomed at any age, any stage, any element of their life, and just be accepted for who they are in this time, in this place. And with that, my friends, be bold, be brave, be fearless, be the magic of you. Massive love, and I'll see you on the next episode. Take care.